Greetings. Palo Santo, cleansing the air, cleansing the energy. Aho, aho. How y'all doing this evening? Welcome. Greetings, Mrs. Tate. How are you? Good to see you here. I hope things are good with you. And how are you? Love is life beings. Good evening. You ready to rock? All right, I'm ready to rock too. All right, so hold on here. Let's see something. Let me make sure I have everything. All right, there's a little bit of an echo. How you doing, Miss Tate? Good to see you. Thank you. All right, so we are ready to rock. Got our Palo Santo going. We're gonna do our little advertisements to start. So let's go. Here we go. Start off with my tea.
Such a long time.
I love that song. That's a love song. All right. And we still have time for the matchmaking event. 2 Hearts, 1 Love virtual matchmaking. And that is scheduled for tomorrow, March 30th. So if anyone is interested in finding their love, then you might want to participate in the matchmaking event. What else do we have going on? We have a fashion show. The fashion show is tomorrow. It's in Brooklyn, New York. So if you guys are into fashion, if you're into makeup, if you're into modeling, if you're into just looking good and hanging out, then you want to show some support to these wonderful people who have organized a fashion show. And let me tell you, it ain't easy organizing no fashion show, getting all these models together and clothing flying everywhere. And I tell you. Hey, Shaka! Peace. How are you? Shaka representing from the Dominican Republic in the house. Family, I want to say I just got back from Dominican Republic, and I want to say Shaka recommended a beautiful beach there for us to go to, and we had a ball. And I want to say if you're going to travel to Dominican Republic, to find someone who already lives there and to get recommendations as to where to go, what to do, what not to do, what's fun, and anything of that nature. It's just the same as if someone was traveling to New York. Then you would call them and you would probably ask them, where do I go? What can I do? What's fun? What shouldn't I do? So yeah, I do recommend Dominican Republic. I had a good time, and it's a beautiful place, and the beaches were wonderful, and the food was delicious. So yeah, and one thing I could say about Dominican Republic is that it was very affordable. It was, I think, because we went to other islands, but Dominican Republic, it was very affordable. So if you are on a budget, however you want to travel and you want to go on a vacation, then yeah, I do recommend Dominican Republic. Shout out to my family from Dominican Republic. Buenas noches, ¿cómo estás ustedes? Yes, okay, so what are we talking about today? Today, we're talking about what's coming towards you, what's coming to you, how is it going to affect you, any changes that may be happening in society today. First, I'm going to start off with New York City. Since New York City is the place where everyone wants to be, New York City is the place where everyone thinks it's all exciting. Everything is happening in New York City. And so I want to start off with New York City, what's going on, and any updates, any changes, any rules, any regulations, any laws. Some of this stuff, y'all ain't gonna believe. So let's get started. So, as many of you know or may not know, the mayor of New York City is Mayor Eric Adams. Eric Adams is making a decision to keep New York City safe and secure. And he says New York City is a community and we need to take care of our New Yorkers. And we need to make sure that anyone who's in New York feels safe and secure. And with that said, he's implementing a couple of things that will affect every single person in New York. Let's start with the New York City subway stations. New York City subway stations is getting a whole revamp, like a whole redone. Everything is going to change in regards to New York City subway stations. They're installing a number of systems. First thing they're doing is installing a new electromagnetic technology that detects weapons. Yes, a weapons detection system to find out if anyone is carrying a weapon. Because the mayor says that New York City has been the police officers have been finding a lot of weapons. And so this new system, this new detection system that they're installing is going to find people who have weapons on them. So New York City currently has about 1 billion riders, over 1 billion riders. So this new weapons detection system is going to affect over 1 billion riders. Overall, New York City, you have tourists, you have visitors, you have New Yorkers, and we have 472 train stations in New York City and 36 train lines. So what they're doing, what they're implementing is going to affect over 1 billion people. The train systems in New York operate 24/7, nonstop. People are getting off, getting on. It's a lot of things going on, and they're complaining that everything cannot always be managed or watched. So for safety and security reasons, this is what they're doing. So how do they go about doing this? Because this is not just the electromagnetic technology that they're installing. They're installing new tracks, new switch systems, new cameras, just new technology overall, so that in the future, they can entertain driverless trains. Trains with no drivers. That's the future of what they want. Now, this is not something that's going to happen like next year, because we're talking about revamping 472 train stations, all of the tracks, all of the switch systems, cameras installed. So it's going to take years to do this, but overall, it'll be done probably within the next 10 years. So I would say by next year, maybe they'll have 1 station done or 2 stations done, or, so every year they'll do 2, 3, 4, 5 train stations that'll have this electromagnetic field attached to it with new cameras, new switches, and all of that. And why all of this? One of the reasons is for protection, of course. The other reason is because they're saying the trains are late. The people driving the trains are crashing the trains because they're tired, or maybe they may be under the influence of something. So this is supposed to avoid train crashes. This is supposed to lower crime. This is for safety and security. Okay. So at least 10 years. And so there was a little bit of a concern about the electromagnetic technology where they can detect if you're carrying a weapon. What if there's a false alarm? Because technology is not perfect, and neither are people, in all honesty. However, what if it triggers by accident? What if one day someone has their knapsack on and they're on the train and they have an iPad or, some type of electronic device that triggers the system and signals that it is actually a weapon? That may be a concern. So once it triggers, then the police comes. That's the next part. So it's not just going to trigger and nothing's going to happen. It's going to trigger. The police is going to receive a signal, and then they will have to come to investigate what's going on. What if it triggers by accident and you happen to get a hostile, aggressive police officer? I don't know. I don't know. What are we talking about here? So the other thing that is a concern is privacy issues. You see, once it is triggered, they have to go further to investigate. So this could mean going through your bag, taking you down the station, running your name through the system. Takes time, takes energy. It's going to stress you out. You may not be happy. You may be scared. But this is what the mayor is implementing for the safety and the security of all people in New York City. And so there you go. So let's talk about the electromagnetic fields that is used to detect whether you have a weapon. So I know a little bit about the electromagnetic fields, not a lot, but enough to know that this may not necessarily be completely healthy for New Yorkers. Why? Why do I say this? Because electromagnetic fields affect your melatonin levels. So if you know what your melatonin levels are, if you know what melatonin is at all, then you know what I'm talking about. The electromagnetic fields also affects your sleep quality, how well you sleep. It also affects your memory. Your memory changes, and then how you remember things. It also affects your hormones. You could experience a hormonal imbalance. It affects tendinitis, and it could cause loss of appetite. Now, I want you to think about what I just said, and I want you to imagine 472 train stations upgraded with tracks with this electromagnetic field, which is necessary to keep New Yorkers safe. Okay? So if you're on these trains every day, then you need to be aware, and you need to start protecting yourself and start researching and learning what are things that you can do to assist you to protect your body. This is your mind, your body, and your spirit, because loss of sleep, loss of appetite, your hormones, your memory, like this is your overall health system and how you function. And I think there's only one island. Correct me if I am wrong. I believe Staten Island doesn't have any trains. Am I correct? Hey, Cynthia, what's up, Cynthia? How you doing, sis? Y'all correct me if I am wrong. So we got trains in all of the boroughs except for Staten Island. I could be wrong, though. Staten Island might have a train, but if I remember correctly, when I Well, when I go over to Staten Island, I'm always on the boat. And I think there's a bus that goes over there. But I don't recall ever when I go to Staten Island seeing any trains over there. So 472 stations. You have to recognize also that some of these train tracks are underground, right? They're running underneath the properties where you live at. And some of these train stations are above ground and they're running non-stop. So some of them are right outside your homes. You know what? I was by a train station. I said, let me do this video. They got some train stations are right outside your freaking window. Hold on, let me show y'all this. These are apartments. The train is directly above it. Y'all see that? Now, if they're going to be installing this whole new system, how is it going to affect the people who live like right there? Like those people could literally look out their window and probably see the people on the train and vice versa. I don't know. This is the system that he wants to install to help New York City be a better place for you to live at. It's going to cause the mass transit to operate more efficiently. It's going to be safer, and it's supposed to be better for the city. That's what he's saying. What else is the mayor of New York City working on? What other project? There is another project that he's working on, and it's called Scout. Scout is spelled SCOUT, just like Boy Scout or Girl Scout. So he's installing a program called Scout. What is Scout? Scout is a system that requires a group of people to basically scout out on the trains, on the platforms, throughout the whole transit system. So Scout, the acronym, it stands for SC, Subway Co-Response. OU is for outreach. And T is for team. Co-response, outreach, team. Subway co-response, outreach, team. Subway co-response, outreach, team. He's partnering with the MTA and New York State to install the Scout system. This is what the mayor says, their dedication to the city for safety, stability, and community. Scout is a new program that's going to start in a couple of months. In addition to the new train systems that they'll be upgrading, all of this is going to start this year, 2024. Scout alone cost approximately $20 million. Where's your reparations money, y'all? $20 million for Scout alone. This doesn't include what they're doing with the metal detectors, electromagnetic detectors. Scout is basically a medical system. It's a medical system that's going to operate on New York City transit. How is it going to operate? How are they going to do this? What's the plan? What's the game plan? They're going to deploy medical clinicians on the train, on the platforms, and everywhere within the transit system. Medical clinicians. What exactly is a medical clinician? A medical clinician is basically a doctor who has contact with their patients, like constant contact with their patients. Follow up, checking in, how's things going. A clinician could be a nurse, registered nurse. It could be a healthcare provider. It could be a medical assistant. It could be a psychiatrist. Yes, a psychiatrist. You know, the ones that check your head. It could be a counselor also. Basically, a medical professional who can diagnose you with an illness. So he's going to have the program called Scout implement and deploy these people who can go into the train system and say, there's a problem with you, diagnose you, and then make sure they get you to a facility where you can get medication, where you can get assistance for whatever type of illness you may be having. They can give you medicine, they can treat you, they can hospitalize you if they have to. Whatever is needed, whatever is required. Once they diagnose you, they have to monitor you, because that's the whole thing with the medical system. They're giving you medicine and it's a psychiatric situation, or if it's something that's serious, they have to monitor you. They have to keep tabs on you. They have to keep track of what's going on. They have to maintain a full ongoing assessment. Full ongoing assessment of you and your medical condition and how you're progressing, if you're progressing at all. They have to look and see, is your medicine working? Do we need to change your medicine? Is your dosage high enough? Do we need to up your dosage? Or is your dosage too high and we need to lower your dosage? Do we need to put you in an institution and hold you for a while until you're doing better, or until at least you are responding the way that they need you to respond? So all of this is part of making New York City a better place to live. What else are they doing with Scout? So Scout is going to maintain a database, a medical database. And the database is going to be all of the people that they take from these train stations, all of their information. Anything from the name, the address, what was prescribed, what doctors assigned to them if they were in the facility, in addition to the family history. Yeah, the family history. So, what I also forgot to mention, with the new systems that the mayor is deploying and installing, they're also going to install cameras, brand new cameras. Now, these brand new cameras will be everywhere. And the cameras, again, are for your safety. So, if you get on those trains, if you get on those buses, they're going to be on the buses too, by the way, and you act up, everything is going to be on the camera to justify if they have to put you in an institution or give you medication or hold you for a while. Make sure you're okay mentally, emotionally, or psychologically. So that's what our lovely, lovely mayor has been up to. What's the next thing that's going on? You probably heard about this. The next thing that they already passed this. So this is practically old news. So I hope you already know about it. New York Law 213. So New York Law 2.13. What exactly is New York Law 2.13? Well, since I work in the law firm, I said, let me look this up and see what exactly it entails. What exactly does it entail? So, when you're looking up law, you have to look in certain books. So this particular law, in case you want to look it up yourself, because you don't have to listen to anyone when they're telling you something. You can do your own research. You can do your own due diligence. And I definitely encourage you to do this. So this particular law is located in the New York Codes for Rules and Regulations. It is under official compilation of codes, rules, and regulations of the state of New York under Title 10, Department of Health. Chapter 1, State Sanitary Code. Part 2, Communicable Diseases. Reporting of cases record. Isolation and quarantine procedures. So if you want to go look up that law yourself, you can go and look it up. But that's where it's located. It has to do with quarantine. It has to do with diseases. And it has to do with being able to put you where they need to put you if you are sick, if you are infected with anything, if you are in the danger of putting someone else in danger. So what else do we have here? What exactly does it say? So when I look further, under Section A, the duty is issue isolation and quarantine orders whenever appropriate to control the spread of a highly contagious communicable disease. The state commissioner of health may issue and or may direct the local health authority to issue isolation and or quarantine orders consistent with due process of law to all such persons as the state commissioner of health shall determine appropriate. So basically, they can put you where they need to put you. This is a law that they passed. And so I'm not sure it's actually a law that they're practicing right now, but there may be a time when they decide to activate this law. So it's kind of like we have laws out here that were passed that we don't know about. Because I kid you not, when you go to look up a law, the books is this thick to look at one area of law. So when lawyers are working for you, they go to a place called the law library. The law library is a place where it is a library of books. I mean, it's a room, it's books and books and books and books, all about law, all areas of law. And so this is where you would go to look up the rules, the regulations, and the laws that they're passing about you, that affect you, that affect your family, that affect your neighbors, that affect your community. Jaywalking, I'll give you an example. Jaywalking is against the law, but everyone jaywalks, right? No one goes to the corner of the block and crosses the street. We cross the street in the middle of the block. We cross the street diagonally. We cross the street any which way we want to. But that's jaywalking, and jaywalking is a law. And so what happens is that when you have these laws that are not really enforced, they can enforce it whenever they feel like it. So if a police officer wanted to get you for jaywalking, he could. He's not breaking the law. You're the one breaking the law. And it doesn't matter if hundreds of thousands of people are constantly jaywalking. If he wants to get you for jaywalking, then he can. It is a lot of laws that are out here that are written that are not enforced, that can be enforced whenever they decide to enforce them. And so right now, this law is not being enforced. And the reason you know it's not being enforced because the way these Instagrammers, these TikTokers, these YouTubers be going off when every little thing happens, immediately they're reporting it. So right now it's not enforced. But this is the law for New York State. This is not just New York City. This is a law that is for New York State. This means it affects Albany, It affects Troy. It affects New York City, the whole state of New York. So what else? What else about this law? Area G, who's responsible for reporting you? Oh, snitches get stitches. Mm-hmm. Duty of attending physician. Duty of attending physician. Every attending physician shall immediately upon discovering a case of suspected case of highly contagious, reportable, communicable disease, cause the patient to be appropriately isolated and contact the State Department of Health and the local health authority where the patient is isolated, and if different, the local health authority where the patient resides. What does that mean exactly? What does that mean? You see, because a lot of times when they write these laws, the laws are written in legal terminology. So a lot of times a regular person may struggle with interpreting exactly what does this mean? What are you telling me? What it means is when you see this word, hold on, let me get it back on. Hold on, y'all. Oops, wrong one. Where is it? There we go. It says at the bottom where patient resides. This is where you live at. This is your place of residence. This is your home. This is your apartment. This is where you rest your head. This means they can come there and they can get you. That's exactly what that means. Who are they reporting to? The State Department of Health and the local health authority. Who's managing the database? The State Department of Health and the local health authority. That's who's managing the database. That's what's going on. So they can remove you from your home. To my knowledge, there's no age restriction. Hold on. Hold on. Hey, James, what's up? What's going on, James? That day will be able to quarantine you. Yep. That's exactly what it means. That's exactly what it means. They can put you in a place where they feel is safe and secure because it's all about keeping the community safe, right? That's what it's all about. You can't have you running around here infecting people. You don't want to listen and you don't want to do what they need you to do, right? You don't want to take your medicine. So yeah, they're going to have to take you away from your home. So there's no age restriction to my knowledge. They don't have to give you a warning. They don't have to call or send you a letter and say, hey, we're coming. They don't have to email you and say, we'll be there. No, they just show up. There's no court hearing because the power has been placed in the physicians. So the medical physicians have the power to say whether you are well or not. So you don't need to go to court for this. This is what they're saying. They can force you to go into quarantine based on the fact that they don't want many people to get sick. There isn't a time frame that they could hold you because people have been known to be sick with that particular disease. Y'all know what I'm talking about, where they was trying to get everybody to take the in the arm. Y'all know what I'm talking about. So some people had it for 3 days and some people had it for 2 weeks. And then I met people who had it for a whole month. So with that said, they're justifying why they can't give you any time frame as to how long they can keep you. Can they remove your children? Yes, because as far as we know, children can get it too. Is there any due process? No, there's no due process. You. Exactly. They coming to get you. It's all about you. That's it. So this is everything that the mayor, the governor, the police commissioner, the MTA, everything that they're installing or making changes for is in the name of public health and public safety. So when they finally have a situation, and I hope we never have a situation, but if we ever have a situation, it's going to be justified in the name of public health, public safety, community protection, all of these keywords. These are what you would call keywords, trigger words, to trigger a lot of society, to trigger a lot of people, because when you hear keywords like safety, community, protection, normally people fall in line. So most people probably may not even fight it. This is why a lot of people ended up getting the tuk, 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 tuk in the arm, because these are keywords that are reiterated to you over and over and over to train your mental to fall in line with this and do whatever they tell you. So we have another law. Now, this particular law you may find actually a little funny. You may actually want this law to be passed. I don't know. And then there's some people who ain't too crazy about it, but it's actually not a law yet. So it's in the form of a bill. It is a bill that is proposed by this gentleman here, Assemblyman Charles Levine. Yes. So, as you can see, he's an older gentleman. I don't know if he's married or not. I don't know if he has children. I don't even know anything regarding his status as to what he prefers or don't prefer in terms of, in the bed. I'll just put it that way. So Charles is promoting a bill where you can cheat on your spouse legally. You see, there we go again. Did you know that cheating on your spouse is against the law? It's just not enforced, and nobody ever pursues it. Nobody ever says anything. Cheating on your spouse is against the law. What are the charges for cheating on your spouse? A misdemeanor. Did you know that if you got caught cheating on your spouse, that it's a misdemeanor? Did you know that? Most people don't even know that. So Charles, our lovely, wonderful Mr. Charles, is suggesting a new bill. And this bill will allow you to cheat on your spouse. Now, a lot of the hardcore Christians and Muslims are not really happy about this. And I get it. I totally get it. Not everyone wants to share the person that they are, intimate with or in love with, or not everybody wants to share. So if you cheated, if this law is passed, and I don't know if it's going to pass or not, but right now, if you cheat, you have to suffer the consequences. There are legal consequences. You can get sued for damages, and definitely the person can definitely sue for divorce, but you can get sued for financial damages. And on top of that, you can get a misdemeanor charge on your record. So if you are out here, some jobs, they won't take you if you have a felony, but there are some jobs that won't take you if you have a misdemeanor. And most of them don't even look to see what the misdemeanor is about. A lot of times at the law firm, we're not taking people who have records like that. And they would have to go further to see what type of misdemeanor is this. Because the misdemeanor, if you're cheating on your spouse, it's worse misdemeanors than that. But nonetheless, a lot of them, when they see misdemeanor, they write you off. So Charles is suggesting a bill where you can commit adultery. Infidelity is okay. So this was a law since the 1900s. Cheating on your spouse has been a law that's been here since the 1900s. So it is a Class B misdemeanor. It's a Class B misdemeanor. So if you're caught, ladies and gentlemen, if you got a camera, or you hire somebody and you watching your lover or your wife, your husband, and you want to catch them, you can get them charged with a Class B. B is in $1 billion, Class B misdemeanor, which would go on their record, which you might, I don't know, anybody who has a record, it just doesn't look good. So you might want to not do that and just kind of work it out, if you're that kind of person. So the last case, because this is a law that's not really enforced, a lot of people don't utilize it. So the last case that I think they have on record was in 2010. In 2010, a woman was caught. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. A woman was caught doing the dookie dookie doo in the park. She was in New York City and she was in the park doing the wild thing. Yeah, she was swing low. This puts me to mind of the show called Person of Interest, where the cameras and face recognitions were all of the street. Exactly. Y'all, I'm telling you, they ain't gonna be nothing stopping them from keeping track of people, and they're going to encourage other people to keep track on people, and then they're encouraging people to tell on people, snitches. I mean, this whole system that they're moving forward with is going to be something to see, because got a little bit of echo. I'm waiting to see how many people are going to go along with all of these rules and regulations and laws that they're trying to promote. How many people are going to be like, this is okay? Like, is anybody going to say anything? Is anybody going to fight back? I don't know. So Charles Levine wants to discriminate cheating. He wants to decriminalize cheating. He wants to decriminalize cheating. That is the bill that he wants to do. Oh, by the way, the woman who was caught in the park, who was having nookie sucky sucky in the park, right? She had to take a plea deal. The married woman who was caught in the park in New York City doing sucky nookie with a guy other than her husband took a plea deal. I'm telling y'all, the law is just simply not enforced, so many people don't know about it. I wouldn't be surprised if this type of law was in Philadelphia also, or Chicago. Y'all in Philadelphia, y'all spouses that's out here cheating, y'all might want to look into that. And in Chicago too, you might want to check it out. And maybe California. It might be in California too. Cheating spouses. So if Charles successfully gets this law passed, what do you think is going to be the consequences? What do you foresee happening? I'm taking a wild guess. I think it'll be less marriages. I could see less family units together. I could see more children being lost because there's less families, there's less family units. This is not exactly promoting a family environment, right? So when you don't have the mother or the father there, you have fathers who are single, who are raising their children by themselves. Just the same as you have mothers who are there raising their children by themselves. You're still missing one of the parties. So children are going to get lost. They're going to fall in between the cracks somewhere. Something's got to give. Somebody's going to suffer. There'll be more fights than ever. There is going to be more fights than ever, because there are people who will be okay with this, but then there will be people who will not be okay with this. And it's going to be from both sides. It's going to be men who was like, I don't want to share my wife. What are you talking about? And there's going to be women who are going to say, I don't want to share my husband. But the thing is that you're already married. And if this law is passed and you're already married, then it affects you. And there's nothing you can do. Now you cannot go to court, file for that misdemeanor, and then get divorced. You're stuck with that person because they cheated. You got to find another reason to get rid of them. Right? So people out here using cheating to get rid of people, it's not going to be something you're going to be able to use. So with all this cheating going on, there's going to be a lot of more pregnancies because people are going to be like, well, I could just go and do this and go do that. And the people are going to be like, well, I want him and I want her and I want to keep them to myself and I want them to be mine and let's have this baby. Y'all know how y'all be thinking. Y'all know y'all be plotting to put them babies out there so you can hold on to them people. So you can attach yourself to them people and then later on you decide, I don't want to be with them. It ain't working out. It goes both ways. Men and women do this. It ain't just the women, it's the men. So more pregnancies, more unbalanced families. Like it's just Charles Levine. That's why I said, I don't know. You think Charles is married, y'all? Maybe, you know what? You think he angry, maybe? You know what? Maybe he's a swinger, you know? Maybe he was like, I just want to be swinging. Maybe he just wants to be swinging with everyone. I don't know. So that's all of the things that will be happening in New York City. So with that said, I want you to imagine with all these changes that's coming, that they're trying to push towards the people. I want you to think about, double back and think about the electromagnetic field and how it would affect the people in the city. One day you're on the train, you're exhausted, you're tired, you haven't been getting sleep, you're on edge, you're aggravated, you're uptight, you're easily triggered, you're angry for no reason. Because this affects your melatonin levels, which is your melatonin is produced at your pineal gland. That's just one of the things that it does. It affects your sleep, your sleep and wake cycle. That's just a couple of things. It's a lot more when it comes to melatonin. But you're upset because your husband or wife might be out here with another person and you don't like the new law that's passed. Like you just feel on edge. On edge. Let me show you the hormones here that this electromagnetic field is affecting. Hypothalamus, thyroid, liver, adrenal, kidneys, testes, pineal, pituitary, thymus, stomach, pancreas, ovaries, placenta, and uterus. So that's what it's affecting. And you get on these trains every day and you just on edge. You just on edge. You get on the train and you have a little bit of an episode, right? Little bit of an episode, you know, and one of these clinicians from the Scout program come say, hey, everything okay? What's going on? And they may decide that you need to be taken someplace. I mean, everything is on camera. You know, the police are there. They have the clinicians there. They have this whole system, right? And then you may say, you know what? I haven't had sleep in 3 days. Oh, haven't you? The clinician may say. I'm so aggravated. I'm so frustrated. Oh, are you? The clinician may say. I feel so imbalanced. I don't know what's going on. There's hormones imbalance and everything. And they said, you know what? Maybe we could help you. Maybe we can take you to a place where you can get some sleep in the institution where you could relax and we can monitor you and give you medication. I don't know. I'm thinking out the box here, but hopefully that's never a scenario that we would endure or see. Okay. So what else we got going on right now? So everyone knows. Oh, by the way, I'm drinking a Tantra juice. Some of the Tantra practitioners recommended this juice, which would help you if you are a Tantric practitioner. And so I'm drinking it because I want to see. And I'm drinking it every day. So I will definitely let you guys know how that worked out for me with my experiences in Tantra. Okay. Now, so moving on, we're going to talk about immigration, immigrants, what's going on in the United States. So we're expanding just from New York City. We're going to go just overall the United States and a little bit of New York City too, and how this immigration thing is affecting us moving forward. So approximately 2,000 immigrants per day are coming across the border. Last I checked, the total was 12 million, more or less. That's a lot of people. That is a lot of people. It's to the point where they're claiming a housing emergency, a housing crisis. Where are these people supposed to sleep? Where are they supposed to rest? Where are they supposed to lay their head? What about the people coming across here with their children? What about their families coming across here too? There are single people too, single men, single women, all types of people from all over the world is coming here. So where is everybody supposed to sleep? Where is everybody supposed to work? Who's going to take care of all of these people? And how? How are they going to take care of all these people? What's the plan? Is there a plan? Doesn't seem to be like there's a plan. So approximately 2,000 per day. The numbers are up to maybe 12 million. There hasn't been a president in history. When I checked, there hasn't been a president in history that has taken this many immigrants. 12 million. And we ain't done yet. He still has the rest of this year to be in the office. So it's going to go up to a couple of more million. But there hasn't been a president in history who's ever done such a thing. And I don't even know how this is going to be written in history. Is it going to be written in the light of this is a good thing? Or is it going to be written in the light of this is a terrible thing? Because when you look at what else is coming across that border, you got drugs coming through. You have gangs coming through. You have the cartel coming through. You have high crime in the United States. In certain cities, crime is higher than ever. And you see them, the governors and the mayors saying that because crime is high, due to the fact that crime is high, we have to implement other systems. The weaponry system. Because crime is high. We have to deploy the National Guard because crime is suddenly so high. So when these immigrants come across, they need housing, they need money, they need food, they need clothes. If they come in with children, the children have to be able to get into school. They're going to need jobs eventually. They're not coming over here immediately getting jobs, but eventually they're going to need employment also. Overall, 12 million people coming into America is changing the demographics of America. Changing the demographics of America. Right now, there are people in power making decisions for you and about you that affects you. These people in power were voted for. And then some of them were not voted for. Nonetheless, they're in power. They're in the position to make decisions that affect every move you make, everything you eat, everything you drink, every place you go, everything in regards now to your medical, everything in regards to now your travel, everything. And you can't get angry because they're doing what people are giving them the power to do. People are voting for them. They make these laws, they make these rules, they make these regulations, and no one's watching them as they're making these laws and rules and regulations. No one's paying attention. The only time we pay attention is when we're affected by the rules and the laws and the regulations that they passed. And at that point, we're angry as shit. But no one said anything when this was all in motion and all in action because everybody's looking at over there, P. Diddy. Everyone looking at P. Diddy. Or over there, everyone's looking at Cat Williams over there. And meanwhile, all these other things are going on that is more important. How important is P. Diddy and Cat Williams? Yeah, they're pretty important, I guess, but how does Cat Williams and P. Diddy affect you? Them being on the screen along, YouTube and the news and everything doesn't really have anything to do with you. It's just sort of like entertainment. And these people that are in charge, these people that are in power, know that you love to be entertained. They know you love the chaos and the mayhem. And Black people love the chaos and the mayhem. Y'all know y'all do. Mm-hmm. And the more chaos and mayhem that we entertain, the more we are distracted. The more we don't see what's going on until it hits us right upside the head and directly affects us. So, back to New York. How many immigrants are we getting? New York City has approximately 200,000 immigrants. 200,000. That's not the latest number. So this number is from about 2 weeks ago, because I'm pretty sure it's higher than this. New York City has a right to shelter law that applies to everyone, including immigrants. There you go with that law again. More laws, more rules and regulations that people may or may not know about. So even though the immigrants are not New Yorkers, they're not Americans, once they come here, once they set in this territory, they have a right to shelter. They have a right to shelter. And right now, Mayor Eric Adams says that he's struggling trying to accommodate that right, that law, that rule, or that regulation. So the immigrants come, what do they get? They get Medicaid, because some of the women are coming through, they're sick. Some of the men coming through, they're sick. Some of the children coming through, they're sick. They get temporary shelter for 30 days, and then they have to route it, turn it over so that the next group can come over for another 30 days. And then they have to turn it over so the next group can come over for the next 30 days. So it's like a turnaround system where 30 days you can stay here, this group moves, then another group comes, and in 30 days they're here. And it's like a rolling system. They're getting housing vouchers. They're getting food stamps. Some of them are getting low-income housing from 1 to 2 years, which would be like Section 8. Not projects, because the projects is filled up with Black folks and Spanish folks and Jewish folks, and ain't nobody trying to get in those projects, so you can't get in the projects. So, but they are able to get into low-income housing. The cost for the immigrants that are here that we are taking care of costs between $3,000 and $7,000 per month. Where's all this money coming from, y'all? All of a sudden, New York City has all of this money. All of a sudden, United States has all of this money. Where is all of this money coming from? Where's all this money coming from? They ain't got no money for reparations. Shoot. They ain't ever giving reparations. I just want to encourage you to be a realist, to be realistic. If reparations come through, fine. I don't want you to rely on it or to depend on it. It's more than likely it ain't gonna come. Between $3,000 and $5,000 a day. How is it that much money? How is it $3,000 to $5,000 a day? Well, they're paying for their medical, right? That's included. They're paying for their shelter. That's included. They're paying for their food. That's included. And then they have to give them clothing money also. And then their children have to go to school. And so when they added all of this up, it's between $3,000 and $7,000 per person. If a woman comes here pregnant, it doesn't matter if she's 1 month pregnant or 9 months pregnant, and as soon as she lands on this soil, she has that baby's American. That law is still active. So now the child is born and the child is American. She automatically qualifies for Section 8 housing, food stamps, and cash assistance. She automatically qualifies for Section 8 housing, food stamps, and cash assistance. When they come here, they get IDs. They also get a Social Security card. In the United States, you can't function like a regular citizen without a Social Security card. So they're getting Social Security cards also. They're getting voting rights. So when election time comes, trust and believe and expect to see a lot of chaos and mayhem when it comes to voting later on this year. They're giving them voting rights. The children are going to school. Some of the children are getting grants and scholarships. It's to the point where a lot of them coming here don't even speak good English. But they had to get out of the countries, or they needed to leave from where they were coming from for whatever reason. Who knows? The most popular people that are coming across here, languages that are spoken, the reports say Spanish, Russian, French, and Bambara. You ever hear of Bambara? A language called Bambara? Those are the most popular languages that's coming across. Oh, Mandarin too, by the way. We all know who speaks Mandarin, don't we? So we have people coming across the border that are coming from all over the world. There's no rules or regulations, no restrictions, nothing. They're coming from everywhere. That's called a redirecting the money that's already here. That's called a wealth transfer also. So they're redirecting the money. Where'd the money come from? Money came from you, us, the people who are already here. The money that's already in the system. What's the plan? What is the plan? It seems a little bit chaotic, unorganized. I don't know. I know one thing. Between the war in Ukraine that we are funding, the war in Israel, Palestine, that we are also funding, and the immigrants that we are now funding, that we're talking billions and billions and billions of dollars. Billions and billions and billions of dollars. They told Black people we couldn't do nothing for reparations. We don't have no reparations money for you. Where is all of this money coming from? Billions and billions and billions of dollars. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. So we are dealing with inflation right now, right? And inflation is, let me give you an example. Inflation is like this lighter. You go to purchase this lighter from the store and it's $1, right? And inflation is when the next month you go back to the same store, you purchase the same lighter, same size, same color, everything is the same. Nothing's different about this lighter. It's the exact same lighter. And the lighter is no longer $1. The lighter is $3. That is inflation. And so the people here in America are dealing with inflation, right? However, pay attention to all of the money printing that's going on. Because what the money printing that's going on does is it's going to send us into something called hyperinflation. Hyperinflation is this lighter is $3, right? It's $3. You go back next month to purchase the same lighter, same color, everything, nothing different, same lighter. It went from $3 to $10. That's hyperinflation. It's to the point where the money's no good. That's hyperinflation. So inflation is still going up, and you have the Federal Reserve, and everyone knows, I don't know if you know who the Federal Reserve is, because they're not federal and they don't hold any reserves. The Federal Reserve is a private organization. So they're raising interest rates. They claim that by raising the interest rates, it's going to help inflation. So if they raise the interest rates, inflation is going to go down and everything is going to become affordable again. But that's not happening. They've been raising the interest rates, raising the interest rates, raising the interest rates, raising the interest rate, and inflation is staying right here. It ain't going nowhere. It might shift here, shift there, shift here, shift here, but it's staying right here. But they're raising the interest rates, raising the interest rates. What does it mean when they raise the interest rates? What does it affect? When they raise the interest rate, it affects your credit cards. Many of y'all have credit cards, right? It affects your credit cards. It affects your mortgages, your home mortgages. It affects your car loans. It affects your personal loans. And if you have a business, it affects your business loan. So now when you go to get one of those loans or open up a credit card, the interest rate you was gonna pay may have been 9, 10, 15, 20%, is now going to be 30%, 35%, like some ridiculous amounts because of the rates being raised. And so what happened is you're not going to go and apply. You're not going to want to start that business. You're not going to be able to grow that business. In order for you to get a loan at that high price, you have to charge a higher price for your items. So now they're killing businesses. I don't know if you guys see where I'm going now. Because if they're killing businesses, the businesses are going to do what? Fire people. They're going to do cuts or they're going to shut down. It's only two things a business can do in order to function with what's happening. They either shut down, which means everybody loses their job anyway, or they have to do layoffs. They have to let people go. So inflation, it affects the food. If you go to the store and you buy a chicken and the whole chicken was, I don't know, maybe a whole chicken was $5. I don't know. I don't eat chicken, guys. But let's say you go to the supermarket, a whole chicken is $5 and you go back, that whole chicken is going to be $20. So if you were buying a whole chicken to feed, you say if it's you and your husband and you got 2 children and you cook a whole chicken, y'all ain't gonna be eating chicken. Y'all might be eating some chicken backs, but y'all ain't gonna be eating the whole chicken, not at $20, because it becomes unaffordable. Inflation affects gas. You have a vehicle. If you have gas in your house when you pay the gas bill, if you notice, you look at your gas bill, the gas bill is higher. If you go to fill up your car, if you're driving a Jeep and it usually costs $60 to fill up the Jeep, you'll find it's now $100. Inflation is affecting clothes, shoes. You even see where your rents are going up, because if the mortgage is going up and the landlords own the house, then they're just going to raise the rent. Everything is going to be going up. Any type of business or jobs that people have, it has to go up in order for them to be able to survive, in order for them to be able to function. And it's not that they want to take advantage of their customers or their people, but they have to either survive or shut their business down. And those are going to be the only options. So everything is going to be more expensive. If you go into the hotel, if you want to buy plane tickets, planes are run with gas. It could be more money. Or you just receive a less quality of service when you get on the plane. You see what's going on with Boeing right now. Boeing is cutting left and right, cutting left and right, until the point where the planes are crashing and the guy who was snitching, he suddenly died. He suddenly died. Not that Boeing did anything, of course. Yes, but anyway. It affects your oil bill, your gas bill, your electric bill, all of your basic products, your toiletries, your travel, your vacations, your food, your clothes, your shoes, everything around you. Inflation, hyperinflation affects everyone. It just depends on where you're at in your life for how it affects you, who you're around and what you're doing. So if you're poor, or what someone would call a low income person, then you could lose your job. You lose your job, then you lose your apartment, right? You may need to go on food stamps. You can't afford quality food if you're poor. Most poor people cannot afford quality food or quality water. Alkaline water is expensive. You might have to drink faucet water from the faucet, from the faucet of where you live at. And we already know what that water's like. You have to put your children in public school with everyone else. You can't send your children to private school. Of course not. You live in a neighborhood where there's going to be more crime. You could get evicted. If you're evicted, it affects your credit, right? It affects your rental history. So inflation affects poor people more than ever than it would affect, I guess, wealthy or rich people. It affects the middle class too. But the difference between a poor person and a middle class is the middle class may have more. They may have savings for an emergency. They may not be paying rent. They may own their own house and they could have a mortgage. A lot of middle class people have better quality jobs. They may have a business and they may just adjust their business to fire people and just have a family member come and work and help run the business. So it basically affects everyone. Some middle class people put their children in private school. Some middle class people have college loans, and it's going to affect them where they may have to take their children out of private school. They may not be able to pay for all those college loans, but inflation pretty much affects everyone except someone who is wealthy or what you would consider rich or what you would say maybe is well off. Inflation doesn't affect them the same way it would affect the average person that we see out here. And let's be real. All of us are just average people. We're just regular people. Inflation is going to affect us differently than it's going to affect someone like P. Diddy or Cat Williams or, all of these Bill Cosby, Oprah Winfrey. I mean, not even that. Some of these Wall Street executives that we don't know the names of these guys, who's got these big salaries. So inflation affects the middle class and the poor people. So we're going to see a huge change in the middle class and the poor people. I repeat, we're going to see a huge change in the middle class and the poor people. If this country swings into hyper inflation, it's going to affect more than 50% of America. More than 50% of America is either middle class or poor. I would say it's more like 80% of Americans are middle class or poor. It's not a lot of super rich, wealthy people in America. It's really not. And so when you have someone who is wealthy, like we have had clients that walk into the law firm who are well off, and they come in just to get advice about a business that they want to create that they haven't even created yet. And we are supposed to advise them. Then they'll go to an accountant firm. No, they don't go to an accountant at one of these Jackson Hewitt or H&R Block. They don't do that. They go to an accountant firm, which is similar to a law firm, but it's just a firm full of accountants. And they go there and get tax advice, financial advice, wealth advice. They come to us for legal advice, laws, rules, and regulations. They have access to us. They pay for us. And this is the difference when you're dealing with someone who doesn't have access to these things and doesn't know. They don't know any better. So there's nothing they can really do. So these wealthy people, they have the opportunity to expand and grow. They have the connections. They have the money. They can get the loans. They have the partners. They have successful businesses. They have successful investments. They have multiple streams of income. I repeat, a lot of them have multiple streams of income. I could use P. Diddy as an example. He had money coming from the record industry, right? And he had money coming from, do y'all remember he had a clothing line? What was that clothing line called? Was it called P. Diddy? I don't know. I don't know. I know he had some clothing, but I don't know the name of the clothing. Um, he also had alcohol, which he was just in a lawsuit with that alcohol. If I remember correctly, the alcohol was called Ciroc. So he also has investments in real estate. He has money in real estate. What else? So he has four streams of income that we know of. Four streams of income that we know of. I'm pretty sure he had other streams of income that we do not know of. Look at Rihanna. She has income coming from music. She has, I think it's called Fenty Beauty, which is some type of product beauty line or something like that. Some of them go into acting and performing, so they get money from there. So a lot of these people that we look up to, that we idolize, have multiple streams of income, but we don't. The majority of poor people and middle class people have jobs. The majority of our income comes from jobs. We rely on a job to take care of us. And if hyperinflation kicks in, a lot of people are going to lose jobs. And if you lose your job, then you can't pay your bills, you can't maintain your household, and you will struggle taking care of your family. Wealthy people have assets. They also have things that they could sell if they get into trouble. For example, P. Diddy just sold, what did he sell? Some type of records or music or something like that. When I heard that, I was like, he needs cash. He's looking for cash. So he sold it. I think it was, I don't know if it was his catalog, because a lot of these rappers out here and R&B singers, and they selling their catalogs for money. But he sold something that was a lot of money. And I was like, oh, look at that. He's looking for cash. What he get ready to do? He get ready to run? He need a lot of cash. Was he get ready to run? Y'all know he's on that plane, right? And then they say the plane left the country. I don't know if it's true or not. But anyway, it is what it is. So wealthy people have assets. They have tangible assets also. And they have multiple streams of income. When you go, a lot of times when you go to the gas station and you're paying for gas, chances are it could be a wealthy person that owns that gas station. A lot of times when you go to the store and you're purchasing food, chances are it could be a wealthy family that may own that whole supermarket line, that may be all in your neighborhoods. And so what these wealthy people do, and why they're not really affected by inflation, is when inflation hits, they simply adjust the prices. So if you have somebody who needs gas is pretty much mandatory. We have thousands and thousands of cars where people need their cars to drive, and you need gas. So as long as gas is something that is needed, they will provide it. They're just going to raise the price. If the family owns a supermarket, you need food. You got to eat. They're going to have the supermarket. All they're going to do is just raise the prices. So you see, when these wealthy people own all of these assets, they're not affected the same way the middle class or the poor is affected. It's a different dynamic. And they're putting themselves in a position where if they have to take a hit with something, they can. So you'll find sometimes they invest in other things. Some of them have gold, silver, cryptocurrency, stocks, bonds, treasuries, royalties, intellectual property. But they're in a position where if they have to sell it to get money, then they can sell it. They can sell it. That's all. They have access to lawyers if they need to get a contract drawn up to sell something. They have tax advisors. They have wealth advisors. They have business advisors. Some of them have mentors. They have partnerships, high-level partnerships. So let me show you something that I saw, and I was like, what in the world? A piece of artwork that was purchased last year. This is artwork that was purchased in 2023 for over $100 million. The Pablo Picasso and Gustave Klimt. Femme Alemante, Lady with a Fan. And you see, as he's placing the artwork, they're so serious about their artwork that they don't touch it with the hands. They wear the gloves to make sure it's protected. So wealthy people store their money in tangible things. That is something that is tangible. And so they'll purchase that for some ridiculous, crazy amount of money. I can't even imagine doing anything like that. But hey, I ain't judging them. I do understand the concept of why they do it. Another thing that they may store their money at is music catalogs, song catalogs. So Whitney Houston's song catalog is sold 100%. None of her family owns any of her song catalogs. Prince estate sold 50%. The OJs over 50%. Tina Turner 75%. Luther Vandross, Chuck D's, to the point I'm just writing names now. Justin Timberlake, James Brown, John Legend. It's like a wealth transfer, tangible assets and investments. This is where they store their money. So if something happens and they need to sell it, they can find a buyer for those things. For the music catalog, they'll find a buyer. For the artwork, they'll find a buyer. This is what they do. Some of them have crypto, some of them don't. But the thing is that they're moving their money around. If something happens and the dollar crashes, and I didn't say the dollar crashing now, I just said if the dollar crashes, they have money in other places where they can make movements. And they have cash. They have stocks. There was this family. You guys know who this is. Jeff Bezos, Jamie Dimon, Mark Zuckerberg have sold stocks worth about $9 billion. They might think the markets can't go any higher. I don't know. The Walton family, owners of Walmart, heirs of Walmart, founders, sold $1.5 billion in the stock market. That is a lot of money. Why are they selling so much of their assets right now? They need cash. And so they're selling, and money is moving and transferring. And so in conclusion, the moral of all of this that I've been talking about is to say the majority of us, we don't run this economic system. We don't manage these cities. We don't oversee these states. We don't own or manage any of these big corporations. At times, yeah, we may get titles in the position for some of these cities and these states and these corporations, but we don't have the power to change anything in our favor. We don't have the power or the permission to change anything in the favor of the people. Everyone else has the power. We don't. We don't run our own educational system. We don't grow our own food. We don't even own our own prisons. And now look here, I'll say, yeah, we need some prisons because some of y'all are crazy out there. We need prisons. I'm not going to tell you we don't need no prisons. We need prisons because some of y'all are cuckoo. So we need prisons. We don't have any judges or sheriffs in the system that are on our side. Any judges or any police or any sheriffs or that are empathetic for the people. We can't even convince the officers to be empathetic for us in our situations. In most instances, we lack that ability. We don't manage our own transportation system. Look at MTA. Look at what they're doing. Look at what they're about to do. We don't make our own clothes. We don't make our own shoes. We don't have our own technology. It's like They're leading us down the rabbit hole, and all we can do is go down there with them. That's all we can do. We can't even pull back. It's to the point now where how are you going to stop? How are you going to stop it? So, in conclusion, this is what's coming towards you that I want you to pay attention to, that I want you to recognize, that I want you to view from another perspective. This is what I want you to know is coming towards you. That's all that I want to talk about tonight because I got a date at a vegan restaurant. And I am going out and eat some good food tonight. And I hope you guys have a beautiful weekend. I hope you have a wonderful night. And I wish you well. And I am just going to get off of here and bid you guys farewell. Good night.